At home, try and provide your child with a quiet space to read in and a good light to read with. Make sure they have a bookshelf to keep their growing collection of books.
While reading is actually taught in school, we must recognise the huge role which the home has to play in encouraging reading, whether it be for pleasure or for learning. And I would say that the book-friendly home gives its child a great start in school life.
Partnered reading is another powerful way of strengthening reading skills. This approach uses the shared reading steps, but brings more of the family together. Each member reads a sentence or a page in turn, and sometimes out of turn.
Here we go.
Yippee, cried Eric. I love holidays.
Toot, toot.
Trumpeted.
Trumpeted Eric's elephant, feeling just as excited.
Good girl, Sarah. Excellent.
She had never been on holidays before.
I think you took my go. Oh, go on, am I joking you? Eric's dad shook his head. Sorry, Eric, he said firmly. Your elephant can't go. She's too big.
I think anybody can create a reading environment. On the market now there are innumerable bright posters. There's lots of reading material to be bought, not very expensive. You don't necessarily have to buy the most expensive book to achieve this objective. Any book will do. It is how you handle the book. So I would strongly suggest that you start maybe buying a book a week for your child, build up the child's own library, let the child then choose the book that they want to read. I have found from my own experience that some children will ask you to read the same book week after week after week, and they will know the book. If you're trying to read the book in a hurry, they will say, but you left out this bit. And it's terrific when that comes, because then when that happens, because children are really engaging with the content of books. But I think that anybody, if you have the will to do it, you can at home create a reading environment for your child.
A sense of ownership is very important. Ownership creates pride and encourages the habit of independent reading. Swapping books with friends is also enjoyable and recommended. The county or city public library is a treasure trove of books. By bringing your child to your local library, you encourage reading as a source of pleasure and information.
Personally, I found it very useful to enrol my kids in a public library. They get great value from a public library. They're able to sample many different types of literature, which even with the best will in the world, the parents aren't going to find for them. And I think you do need to guide their reading, and you do like to make sure they read more classics and read books of different genres, but by and large, you mainly have to just guide the reading. I think if you become heavy-handed about what your children read, there's a danger that you'll discourage the reading habit. And frankly, I prefer them to be reading anything, well, almost anything, than not to be reading.
Will computers kill reading?
Well, personally, I doubt it, because I don't see any of us curling up on the couch to read a good computer. In many ways, I consider they're complementary. To use email and the World Wide Web, children have to be able to read. They have a very strong desire to use this new technology. Also, in using the World Wide Web, they come across many interesting features and may want to read up about them in library books or class books. So therefore, I think it's extremely doubtful that technology will kill the use of books.
If you have a personal computer at home, take advantage of the many CD-ROM educational packages and talking books. They are highly interactive and fun, and will greatly help your child's word recognition, pronunciation, spelling and writing.
Well, I think in IT, reading is even more important, and writing particularly, because the biggest obstacle to the success of IT systems is the communication of what it is you're trying to do to the people you're trying to do it for. And that communication cannot be done by a computer, it has to be done by a person. It's frequently done in written documents or in oral presentations. And an experience and a facility in reading and writing, in other words, high quality literacy, is an absolutely essential.
Is too much television bad for reading?
Well, too much television could actually be bad for the child in that it might become too passive, but it can actually be used as a springboard If the child is interested in particular series such as Buffy or Pokemon or any of those books can be bought, and this will encourage the child to actually read in bed or before television starts, and really encourage a strong desire to read about their favourite characters.
Television and video, if used wisely, can develop positive attitudes toward reading. Make watching TV or videos a planned activity, where programmes or films are chosen, viewed and discussed together. Finally, be aware of TV, video and internet use at home, as some programmes and sites may be unsuitable for your child. Sometimes children can lack motivation when it comes to reading.
I have a young fellow at home, and no matter what I do, he doesn't seem to be able to want to read at all. He's 5 years of age and he'd prefer to be out playing football than reading. Is there anything I could do to encourage him to read a bit more?
Well, to begin with, you could use the football itself as a starting point. If you get well illustrated books, those with just pictures, no words, this will actually encourage the child to read and talk about what he's seeing if it's about his favourite player. Another way is to discuss games on television and then get some of those comics that feature those particular teams. All of this can help prepare your child for reading and encourage him to start.
Your child's reading progress is measured through class observation and standardised tests. This helps the class teacher to identify pupils who have possible reading difficulties. If your child has a specific reading difficulty, help is available through the school's learning support and resource teachers. Sometimes intensive coaching is required for a short period of time, or even placement in a reading resource unit.
This unit is for children with specific literacy difficulties, which these children have been evaluated by educational psychologists. The layman's term or the common term would be dyslexia. You're talking about a child of, we'll say, good intelligence, normal intelligence, who cannot memorise common words. They find it very, very hard to build up what we call a sight vocabulary. They find it hard to recall the names of letters, the sounds of letters. They cannot combine both. They fail to remember the common words, the words that we see every day. They're lacking in motivation because they're so afraid and they're so used to failing. And they know what it is to fail because they're intelligent. They recognise that they are failing. So they are afraid to fail. So therefore they will hold themselves back and not do anything. It's better to do nothing rather than fail. I would say to parents to communicate with their school. If they feel their child has a problem, go to their school, go to the learning support teacher, go to the class teacher, go to the principal. Express their worries. If they have information about their child, if they've had an assessment or an evaluation on their child, report that, communicate that to the school and work with the school. The school will guide them as to how to help their child at home.
Skills in reading, as in sport, require guidance, development and practice. As a parent, you can guide and encourage your child to develop and practice the skills of reading.
I'm going to read out one of my poems now. The name of this one is Parents, and it's one of my favourites. Parents, don't you hate them so? Yes, no, because we say so. Telling you, clean your room, do your chores. Can't live with them, and yet can't live without them. When you have a problem, here's what they say. What's wrong, dear? Something I can do. Weird or what? It's like they hate you, then they love you. Parents, scary.
I would say to parents of children of all ages, read, read, read with children.
There is no strength until we all cooperate.
Reading is extremely important because it enables a child to enter an imaginary world, a world of people and places that they've never been in, but that they can imagine. And this has an enormously positive effect on a child. It's almost like giving them a key to just a magic world, a world which is invisible, which is just in their head and yet within covers.
There are worlds waiting to be discovered within words, so set out on the road to reading with your child and enjoy it. Finally, Invite the rest of your family and friends to join you.